All right, I'm in my 99 count. Gonna play my pin chest here. Let's check my bags out and see what I got going on. What's that Guardian look like? Not bad. I'm gonna play with my Guardian just to get a little time and grade on it. I gotta upgrade on my sniper here. Still no power on it, but a little bit of top spin, a little bit of back spin. We'll go out with some of these clubs and just try out some of these holes and see how it looks. We'll make them work. I think there was one other club here I have upgraded as well. The Claw. Most of these commons, they're usable as they go up at different levels, just depending on where your clubs are at. But when they get to level 8, that's when these commons, the Claw, the Sniper, the Saturn, they really start to shine when they get to level 8. Stick with my Kingfisher there. Let's see what I got in my third bag. This should be a big dog. That big topper, big dog combo, that works really well. Let's make sure we got a Marlin. All right, let's roll. Let's go play some T5 and see what we can get done. T5. Da-da-da-da. Sharuba Springs, hole 3, par 5. I can't even remember these Tour 5 holes now. It's been like 2 weeks since I played them, and they're totally out of my memory banks. I don't even remember what this hole looks like. I'm sure I'll remember when I get out there. I know that some of these Sharuba Springs holes, unless you're bringing out monster balls, it's rough. And then this is one of the holes here. If you bring out a monster, your chances of getting on and two are pretty grim. So the whole goal is just to try and lay it up out there and not make it tougher on yourself. I think this club is like what is my big topper? What is big topper? It's like 2.5 or something per ring, so it's a little over a ring. Who's counting? A little bit of curl. Hitting it perfect. See if we can stay out of that sand trap on the other side. Just float it up into that area. If you bring out a big ball, this was in a tournament here. These holes are brand new. They came out. Is this for the fall major? A 2020 fall major, and this hole right here. From that spot, if you had a 5 power ball, you could probably get on, but it's grim with a Marlin. Tough. We're gonna go for it though. Gonna go for it. See if my opponent can end up in the fairway, and they do. It'll take us 2 shots to get up. Because we can't even get over. Even if I could get over into that area there, it'll still take 2 shots. See if I got enough topspin I could bridge that gap. Maybe. Let's try it. And my big dog is, I think it's also 2.5 per ring, so there's 5. And 1 ring great to the left. See if there was enough to get it over. It might clip the rough. As long as I can end up in the fairway, I'll fine. Give me a shot to come at it. Somebody asked me on my YouTube channel why about the grid, because I keep Material Q. When I use it with Golf Clash, Golf Clash is the only app that I run where my Material Q will disappear. I had it on and now it's off. And I do have the Golf Clash notebook app, but I like the ability in the Material Q program to how you can customize that grid and how you can set it up That's why I use the Material Q one. My opponent is in a spot of bother. If they've got low level clubs, they might have a rough time getting on from there. I'm in my long iron. Let's put some backspin on that sucker and get up there on it. Let's get right on it. Let's see, it's 2 per ring, so there's 5. It's 2.5 rings. Trying to hit it perfect. Hitting a 1 ring great to the right. Pin high. Distance was good. Trajectory blew, but distance was good. That's 1 ring great to the right. This is the thing about having low level clubs. This is why you always want to stay in the fairway. It's super important to be in the fairway because if you've got lower developed clubs, your recovery clubs, your sand wedge, and your rough iron are short irons. The key there is that you should have just stayed calm and tried to get into the fairway and gave themselves a shot for the chip in from the fairway. So they could have used their wedge or their short iron instead of putting themselves in the sand and making this shot extremely difficult. But this is definitely one of those holes, unless you're willing to bring out a big power ball. And in the lower tours, you'll find opponents that'll bring out a big power ball, but I'll tell you that this hole is tough even with a big power ball. So the opportunity for your opponent to epic fail, even when they bring out a big ball, if you just go out there and just play it. I have a feeling you will win a lot on this course if you just fairway to green. Good game. See if they'll rematch. Guess not. I was reading some stuff in Facebook and somebody was talking about replaying, and one of the people commented on there that they were bummed out that people actually think that it's a bad thing not replaying. And I mean, in this game, you don't have to replay people, but the whole deal is that if you're trying to build up the community, the one and done thing doesn't really help the community out. And the whole the other deal is that what would your motivation be not to replay? You're afraid that you lost one and you're afraid you're going to lose again. Is it a coin deal? Is it about coins? I mean, I would hope that it's about coins. I understand the whole time thing. Sometimes I'm playing and I just don't have I just jumped on and played one and didn't have time to go play again, and we're back on the same hole. This is the problem with without replaying is that you end up playing the same holes over and over and over again. For myself, I've been in sports my whole life, always done some kind of sport, and that whole you lose and now you're afraid to lose again because somebody might be better than you. The whole deal is that I don't want to play. I want to play people that are, if somebody beats you, I want to go out there and let's see if you can beat me 2 in a row. All right, my opponent gave me a free shot here, so I'm going to practice a max overpower hook. Why not? Let's take that Marlin out there and see if we can do a max overpower hook shot. One of the cool things about a big topper is it's got tons of curl. 1, 2. I'm going to go right at that flagpole, or right at that light pole. I'm going to take the wind out. There's 5, there's 7, 7. Let's see where we end up. See if we can catch the fairway there from the light pole. Next time I come here, I'll know. Okay, you hit that light pole, you can get over to the other side, but I didn't net any more distance there with the Marlin. And even if my trajectory would have been a little bit different, I don't know that I would have netted any more yardage with a marlin ball. Now, if I brought out a bigger power ball so that you could get farther into this tip, I think you could. And I could have came in just about maybe a ring and a half to try and squeeze up the distance on this so that I, instead of clipping the rough and rolling out, I actually landed on that fairway. But with a marlin ball, it might not be the way to roll. I just wonder at this point if my opponent recognizes that they missed a shot or if they didn't see it. Getting in the fairway. We've got the same shot we had before. Myself a little bit of room there. Go ahead and push the wind out. There's 2-5. Somewhere in that neighborhood's about 3. Hit a 1-ring great to the left. Just popping myself back up in that area. Does this seem like a repeat of the first time I played? So I think the whole replay thing is that I have no idea. I mean, I'm not saying that if you don't want to replay people, it's like, but why wouldn't you? Why would you want to have to go all the way back to the start screen, go back to the home screen, go back through all of the little rigmarole that's in there, especially if you win? I've gone out on holes where I'm just dinking around and I'm practicing dunks, or I'm just messing around, or I'll miss a putt and force a shootout because we're trying to practice holes. And it's like, hey, dude, I'm out here practicing and you still don't want to replay. Like, you're on this tour. It's especially frustrating during tournament week. And the holes we're looking for on Tour 5. And so we get on Tour 5 and my opponent's behind like they are right here, and I miss a putt so that I can force a shootout so that we can hope that we get one of the tournament holes, and people still don't want to replay that. It's like, dude, do I have to, what do I have to do here to get some action? It's 2 per ring, so there's 4. Getting it perfect. Let's see if we can get in a hole this time. I think my distance was right on the last one. Now my distance was wrong on that one, but I was right at the hole. Right at it. Right at it. See if my opponent can get up. They need to get in. The big dog is not the best club to try and get that in from right there, just because of the lack of ball guide. And that big dog is like 2.5 per ring, so that should have been like a 3-ring pool somewhere in that neighborhood. So they should be off to the right. And they were. I liked it back when the game first came out. You could replay all day. I mean, if you found somebody that wanted to replay, you could replay and replay and replay and replay and replay. There was no 3 and done thing. Playdemic's obsession with the coin deal. I think for most players, especially people that have been playing for a while, the coin thing is not an issue. Either they've gone all the way to the top and they've got billions of coins, or they're comfortable at where they're playing and they don't coins aren't an issue. So I'm not sure what Playdemic's thing is, but they changed it where you used to be able to replay people as many times as each of you wanted to replay, and now doing the 3 and done control on their part. Now this hole right here, it's best to come out. I like to play, and if you got lower developed stuff, this isn't a bad hole to bring out a big dog on the second shot. I like to play the lower section down here. Is this the right hole? I think this is the hole I play the lower section. Maybe? Yes. No, this is Sharuba Springs. So yeah, the lower section's good. I was thinking of a different hole. It's got a similar look down there on the bottom. Use that overpower. Get on it. Right into the sand. That's what I'm talking about. You will not be able to get up from there, even if you have upper developed stuff. Now, freaking light pole's in the way too, so you got to watch out about that thing. Give myself a little bit of room here. 2.5 per ring, so it's just a titch over 2 rings. I'm going to put a little teeny bit of left-hand curl just to bring it back to the center of the fairway. Hitting it perfect. And I also want to get it the heck away from that light. So I want to move it around that light so that that light doesn't kill me. When this came out in the Winter Mage, there was bunches and bunches of people hit these light poles. All these light poles in the Sharuba Springs are in play. And staying the heck away from these light poles. Now you wanted to go on that side because you wanted to get way up there. Why wouldn't you? You got more fairway going in the upper direction. Why wouldn't you just move it forward in the upper direction? Because you could net more yardage and the fairway's wider. And it doesn't terminate on a little end like this. I mean, if you wanted to go to this side and that was the side, why didn't you shoot there to begin with? That's a question. And my backbone's 1.4 per ring. Put on about 3 backspin. It's hard to tell when you've got lower developed stuff because you just don't have a really good ball guide. If we were playing in tournaments, you could do this as a setup shot. You could figure out like what you needed to do and where you needed to be. It's 1.4, so there's 4.2. That leaves me 6. And that's a little shy of a half a ring. I'm going to go 3.5. Getting it perfect. Trajectory looked pretty decent. Probably would have missed it if I'd had a little bit more distance there. If I hadn't put on either quite so much backspin, if I'd have moved it a little closer. Now my opponent needs to get this in the hole. So I'm talking about when you come out into these tours, especially if you're going to a new tour. If you're moving up, if you've been playing Tour 5 and you're going to Tour 6, or if you're in Tour 6 and you're going to Tour 7, or whenever you're moving up, don't go out there and get crazy. Go out there and hit fairway to green until you get familiar with these holes. And you'll be surprised at how often, just by going out there and staying in the fairway, you will just start winning these matches. And it's especially important when you move up, especially if it's your first time going up because of the cash flow deal. The community has, like from the very beginning when the game came out, there was always the rule of 10, having 10 times the buy-in on the next tour when you're moving up. And I was never really a big fan of that. I always wanted to, when I went up, I always wanted to make sure that I had enough coin that I never had to go back down. So going up to the next tour, having lots of coin. I think the first time when I went to Tour 7, I had 3 million. So, I had 30 games worth. When I went to Tour, I know when I went to Tour 10, I had, what's Tour 10? It's 3 million. I had like 125 million. When I got to Tour 11, I had, was it 350 million. Somewhere in that neighborhood. I did not want to go. I wanted to be able to go up to whatever tour it was and be able to go out there and play those holes and get used to those holes and not have to worry about losing 3 games and then having to drop back down. I wanted to be able to go and take my lumps when you're learning new holes. And the key is, like I said, stay in the fairway. Just play the course. Just try and stay in the fairway and see what it feels like to stay in the fairway before you start getting crazy. Once you get a feel for the holes, then you can get a little more aggressive if you feel like you need to. But in most cases, you will be fine if you just go out there and shoot fairway to green. This is what is this, a power 4 ball? Power 4, power 5 ball? One of them special ones. Now, if you can get onto that fairway over there, you can get up and down here. That's a power 5 ball. And a level 2 Apocalypse. If you have a level 2 Apocalypse, you probably got a much higher level extra mile, and an extra mile would be a better club right there. Not saying they can't get it done with the Apocalypse, but the extra mile would be a better one. I think if you can just make it over to that fairway, you should be okay. The farther you get down there, the better. But I think if you can just make it over there, you're all right. Okay, it's 2.5 per ring, so there's 2.5, so we're a little less than a ring. I'm going to put just a little teeny bit of curl. I'm going to rub up against the nubs. Hitting it perfect. I'm unsure about where it's going to go on the tail. Does it look like I'm, as far as like distance, like it might bleed out and go too far? If they would have brought in an extra mile versus that Apocalypse 2, they could have got more raw distance, and they could have really put that power 5 ball to work where they could have got down into here, as opposed to bringing out a power 5 ball, especially if they knew they had a Guardian in their bag, because a Guardian level 3, a Guardian, as it gets up in level, once it gets, I think it's like level 7 or so, it gets like 175 power. So it's starting to get into the same kind of power range as a big dog. When it gets maxed out, it gets the same power as a big dog. I think it's like 179, 180 right there. It never has top spin. So top spin's like your big dog thing has top spin. And this is why I always say that the big topper and the big dog go together, because when you find shots like that where you're trying to bridge those gaps and the big topper will help you, having a big dog in your bag as your secondary club is big, because you can give yourself that opportunity to get up there. Not sure on topspin, and I don't want to roll off the back of the screen. So it's 1.4, so it's 2.5 per ring. Hit it 1 ring great to the left. 1 ring great to the left. Da, 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 da. See how much roll I can get towards the green. Little bit more topspin. It looked like I needed to put on a little bit more topspin, but this is one of those greens that if you engage the green, if you can't get it right and you engage the green, it'll roll off the back super quick and you're end up in the rough. So I would have rather gave myself a putt, but I gave myself an awesome opportunity, and I've got a Firefly, so I can run the topspin out and get it up to the cup. And I really like going out when I'm on holes like this where somebody brings out a power 5 ball and I bring out, we're in Tour 5 and they brought out a power 5 ball. They're going to regret. They're going to end up in some tournament sometime and go, man, I need a power 5 ball, and regret not having this power 5 ball and get in the hole. And they might get in the hole. Ooh, close. Close. Nice shot. see if we can get a little closer. Wind may play a factor from here. That wind is problematic. I'm going to go right on the edge of that cup. So the deal here is that I could hit, I may be able to hit a perfect. And if the wind's not a factor, a great to the left. If wind is a factor, and wind was a factor, so from that point, from the way the wind went on there, I may have been able to hit a one ring great to the left or the right and a perfect. If wind had not have been a factor, I would have only been able to hit a great to the left and a perfect. I was kind of like hedging my bets there. Good game. Let's see if they'll rematch. See if they want to put another power 5 ball out there on the course. Come on, Smoking Woods. There you go. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Getting some replay action. Maple Bay. I think the real deal on the Sharuba Springs thing is that you've got to forget how we played them in a tournament. And you need to bring out mortal balls and go out there. Yeah, I want to bring it. Do I want to bring a big dog? It's going to really depend on which way the wind's blowing. I really like to do the rough bump here. And a big dog is not the best club to do the rough bump. But I'm not sure. I'm going to bring my big dog. Just trying to go down into that. I want to be 2 rings off that transitional surface. 5-7. There's about 5-7. That puts me about a ring and a half into power. Put just a little teeny bit of overpower on it. Not enough to make the needle go any faster, but enough for it to start shaking so I know I'm in overpower. And just float it out there. And I want to try and make it so that I have a little bit more breathing room over here on the right-hand side because I'm going to have to bring it around on the right. I don't think, even with the big dog, I may not have enough there where I can get up there and do the rough bump with a marlin. So in my opinion, hitting over here on the left-hand side is a losing proposition. It's not that you can't get up from down there, but if you don't have the right club and if they've got the same bag they had before and they have a Guardian, they're going to need topspin from over there in order to get up. Now, they did bring a power 5 ball, so they have an advantage there. But it is tougher from this side. And they're going to have a hard time getting up. Because if they can't engage this fairway here and they have to bounce over, they're only going to have three backs or 3 topspin to get that done. And that is thin. Whew, that is thin. 3-7, very thin. 3-7. It's going to put me just a titch right along the power edge. And I need to hit this perfect. And I'm not putting any overpower, but I am just slightly rubbing on the nubs down there, just slightly. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if we can get that double bounce rough bump. Right there. And if you know me, you know I would have rather made the fringe on the other side and not have to take this putt. I am not the best putter in the world. I don't like having to take long putts like that. It's not that they're super hard. It's just I'm just not good at them. So my opponent has an advantage right here. To me, that's almost like hitting in the rough. I would have rather got to the fringe on the other side or stopped right at pin high. I had to put so much topspin on it just to bridge the gap to hit the rough. That's the deal. And this is what I'm talking about. So if you brought a big dog here, you could get farther up in that chute and you've got so much topspin, you could get on the green with that power 5 ball. But think about it. You have to have a power 5 ball in order to make that happen. So if you came out here and you were playing with a marlin and you hit to the top, you're basically relegating yourself to 3 shots to get on. If you take the lower route, there's several different ways that you can get up there. You can do the shot that I did. You can do a pure bounce over. Or if you've got a club, you can come to the right-hand side over here and use curl and bring it back to the cup. And the deal there is that your chances of getting it in the hole are like 0 to none. But the thing is that you can get out here on the fringe where you've got a short little chip shot and you're in the hole and you're on to the next one. And the deal here with my opponent is that they've gone up. Let's check my opponent out. Got 1,109 games. They've got 521 wins. They've gone up to Tour 7 because they've got a Nirvana. They've got some Tour 7 clubs, but some of these clubs aren't usable until they get, like that Nirvana is usable really quick in its lifespan, but it's better when it gets to like level 2 and 3. And so when you get up to Tour 7 and you start getting those clubs, you need to stay with the clubs that have got you there and start developing them until they become usable. And picking the right clubs. This is why it's important to be in a clan. I mean, it used to not be that way, but being in a clan and having access to multiple bags is big because you can look at the hole and you can go, okay, on this hole, I know I'm going to end up in this spot and I'm going to have an issue. So let's bring out this club or this bag here is what I'm going to need. And maybe that's not the best driver. Like that big topper may not be the best driver on all those holes, but you know that in your big topper bag, you've got a big dog, and the big dog is definitely the second club that you're going to need. So go out there and get it done with the big topper, get yourself out there in the fairway, and then your next shot, you're going to be with that big dog. And that's what you really needed on that hole was the big dog. Conversely, you may find you're on one of those holes that, hey, a big topper is really the driver here. I may have to suck it up and I'm not going to have the best wood in my bag for the second shot, but the big dog can get it done. So, and you may be on one of those holes and you go, man, a quarterback or a really super accurate club is what I need. Like this hole right here. And I don't know if that sniper's got enough distance to get me over. That's the deal. And you definitely need some topspin here, and I don't think I have much. So I'm going to bring this bag. I'm not sure. I have to think about how to set this shot up with this club because I'm not sure. Can I cover that swing with that? Maybe. 2-4, there's 7-5. That puts me about a ring into power. There's max curl. Hit it one ring great on the inside, which is probably the best thing that could have happened to me there. Because that thing didn't have enough curl on it. And I'm still going to end up in the rough. I thought it had more curl on it than it did. I always like to be that spot right there. I usually take with a QB or my rock, and I have it's a pure setup shot, and it's definitely I like going the low route. You can go the upper route up here. The deal with the upper route up here, well, either one of them, but especially on the upper route, if you end up in the rough, if you have higher developed clubs and you end up in the rough up at the top, you're sunk. If you end up in the rough or the sand all the way down on the side that I hit, all the way down there at the bottom, like you overshoot it, you can get up with a Spitfire and a Nirvana. This shot's super easy with a QB, but that sniper that I have doesn't have enough topspin to get you. And you can see from where I'm at with my big dog, my sniper would be back in here, and even with overpower, I wouldn't have been able to get it up there. Okay, where I'm at right there, I probably wouldn't have to put on any overpower at all, but I want to put on just a rubbing against the nubs. Get it great to the right. That rubbing up against the nubs is about 1 mile per hour of wind, so I was just kind of compensating for the wind to give myself that good window. And just getting it on the green. Fairway to green. Fairway to green. When you're on par threes and you're on those shootout holes, the whole goal is distance. Don't worry about shootouts. Don't worry about getting beaten shootouts. The deal is that you really have to focus when you first start playing a tour. And for me, I'm bounced all over the place. People ask me to play Tour 7. People ask me to play Tour 5. I may play Tour 6. It doesn't matter. I'll bounce around. So I know the shootouts just because I've been playing for a long time. But the fine little intricacies of how much topspin, backspin, and that kind of stuff, I tend to forget that. And then I have to kind of relearn it. So as the day goes on, if I'm playing a tour for a while, for a day, I'll start to remember, like, hey, when you're on that hole, it's 2 topspin or it's 1. And my first goal on any of those shootouts is always distance. Like, focus on distance. Don't worry about trying to get it in the hole and get in the hole in 1. Your first goal is to figure out distance, because if your distance is wrong, it doesn't matter if your trajectory is right. You won't end up at the closest point that you could be to the hole. And it always sucks to be short. So, focus on distance. And once you get your distance down and you go, okay, hey, when I'm on this particular shootout, I know it's 1.5 topspin, gets me right to the cup, cup high. Then you can start really focusing on trajectory. And you can get on those holes and go, hey, I hit a couple of perfects on this earlier in the day and I was off to the left. Maybe I should, and the wind was blowing to the left, so maybe I should do a wind adjustment. I should add on like 10% to the wind. And that'll get me a little closer, because my distance is great. Now I can start trying to eke it closer with making those wind adjustments. But those wind adjustments aren't going to help you if your distance is off. Because it doesn't do you any good to go, yeah, I'm right at the cup and hit the flagpole and then to be 6 yards away. If you had your distance right and you hit the flagpole, you're in the hole. Man, we're getting all kinds of replay action today. See, I was bitching about replay earlier, and look, we're getting some action. Sharuba Springs, hole 9, par 5. Based off what we did earlier, this is definitely a big topper hole. You can get it done with a Marlin. I think last time I put on like 4 or 5 topspin, maybe 4, and I needed a little bit more. So I'll trust my gut a little bit more. Let's check our opponent out. 3,293 games, 1,443 wins, 43% win rate. So either this is and they don't play this in a lot of tournaments. So the forfeiting, like if you look at how many games I've played, 1,514, 809, 54% win rate. Look at all these tournaments. Every one of these tournaments, I forfeited 20 matches at least, and there's got to be at least 20 matches in there, 20 tournaments in there. So there's like 400 losses just from forfeiting in tournaments. So the realistic win percentage in this account's probably over 80. And that's not doing anything special. That's just coming out and playing fairway to green. I'm not trying to burn the world up here. Just trying to play fairway to green. .2, that's about a half a ring. It's 2.5 per ring, so there's a half. I'm going to lean a little. Hitting it perfect. I'm just trying to bounce it over to the other fairway. Get me in my big dog range. I brought that big dog for a reason. I brought that big dog because it can cover this gap. And so the whole deal is that if I can barely get up there with my big dog, there isn't another club in this bag that's going to help me. So I better end up in the fairway. I can say with complete honesty that I've never had a jungleist in my bag. And I know when they buffed the clubs right before the club card trading came out, and then the club card trading came out, and they added on a level for the epics and the rares. I haven't looked at the jungleist to see, like, when it gets up there towards the top, if they made it, because they did almost all of the rares now, even the Tour 1, like the Grim Reaper. Those clubs are absolutely usable now when they get up in upper level. 7.7 or 7.5, just a little over 3 rings. Getting that 2 rings straight to the left. Just floating it up there towards the fringe. Give myself another chip. Chip, chip. Chips ahoy! See if my opponent can get up and in the hole. Not likely with the Guardian, but maybe. My Guardian's low level, so it has no ball guide and it has very little topspin. Yeah, I'm almost done. Like one more hole. Want to go do some work in the yard today? Want to go get some work done in the yard today? Let's see if we can get this in the hole. You want to do some work in the yard today?
Mom's gonna come over
Okay.
about noon to serve it.
No, I got you. I can go do it. All right, let's see if we can get this in. In the hole. Get in the hole. Perfect shot. On the flag. Sweet.
Well, Nathan has now decided he's going to get a Yorkie. Curse you. I hate little dogs until I got Daisy.
We got ourselves our little Daisy girl died right before Christmas, and we got a new puppy. So we have a toddler in the house. All right, that's how you get it done right there. Let's see, how many I got left in my pin chest? 1 left in my pin chest, and I got plenty of time. So let's open up 1 chest, and we'll just go out there and play 1. I'll open up another one just in case I get somebody that wants to replay. I may get some bonus, and I'm only going to have enough time on my video for 1. So we'll go out there. We're kind of a win streak around. We're on a 8-game win streak. So let's see if we can finish this off today. 8 for 8 in today's videos. Just going out there, and have you seen me do anything spectacular? Have you seen me bring out some big ball or do some strange thing? No. When you're out there, sometimes I go out and I am just dinking around and I am trying max overpower hook shots. I'm trying dunks. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I'm just going out there and I'm having fun. But when you're out here and you're playing your pin chest and you're trying to get, man, this would probably be better with an extra mile. Even here, it's to get the topspin to get over to the other side. That's almost too much topspin over there, so that you'll end up rolling off. I think it's really, you need like 3 topspin. Pull off to this side just a little. It's probably too much topspin. 5.7. And what is it? It's 2.4. No, I got it to that level, so there's 5. I finally got it to level 7, so I picked up a little bit of, I'm going to move it forward just a bit to try and clear that sand. Little teeny bit of curl. Hitting it perfect. I think I cleared the sand there, but now the question is whether or not I put on too much topspin and it'll roll off the front, because this here, if you meet that trend, see how it's rolling down? You can't even see the rough from here. If you get to that point, it'll just roll right off and you'll end up in the sand. So if you're coming out and you're playing for your pin chest and you're playing to try and fill up your chests every day. So like normally when you're doing, for me, when I'm doing my pin chest stuff, that's like the serious time. When I get on and my pin chest and I don't have any pin chests available and I'm just out playing, I'll go out and have some fun and go out there and try out some stuff and see what I can do on holes. That way, like, hey, there's a max horsepower hook shot you can do here. And if you end up in trouble, there's a shot you can do. But when I'm playing to try and fill my chest, my whole deal is fairway to green. I don't ever want to pull out my sand wedge. I don't ever want to pull out my rough iron. I want to put myself in the right spot to try and get, I'm at minimum club, and that's 2.4 per ring. I'm engaged just a titch of backspin to get right up on the hole. Right at it. at 3, 2. It's 2.4 per ring. So there's 2, 4. That leaves me 6, 7, 8. That's a third. And I'm going to do a slight little overpull. So there's a ring and a third and a titch. Technical term. Industry jargon. Hitting it perfect. I got a serious shot of that going in the hole. Serious shot. Anytime you pull that kingfisher out, woo! That's what I'm talking about. Ending it off with an eagle. Whenever low level clubs, upper level clubs, the most accurate, best ball guide club in your bag needs to be that short iron. Because if you can get in short iron range, it doesn't matter if you have upper or lower developed clubs, you have a shot of that getting in there. And I know if you look at the kingfisher and you look at its overall numbers, you go, man, that's a crappy club. I'll tell you right now, there's only 2 numbers on that club I'm interested in. I'm interested in accuracy and I'm interested in ball guide. And especially when you have lower developed stuff, because those are 2 things that you don't have on anything else. That's why that Saturn level or that Sniper level 3 is in that one bag, because even though there's a lot of holes that Sniper won't work on, there's a lot of holes that it will work on. And the holes that it will work on, I've got 2 things. I've got ball guide and accuracy. So picking the bags, like I'm trying out my Guardian here just because I got it to level 4 versus my Viper, which is what I normally carry in there when you've got lower developed stuff. The big thing on the Viper, power-wise, the Guardian's good. Accuracy, right there the same. The backspin obviously is better with the Guardian. Curl, the Viper's a much better club for curl at this level. Ball guide, the Viper's got me beat there. Top spin, it's got me beat. But there's times when that Guardian will come in handy, and I just got it to this level, and I just wanted to go out and just refamiliarize myself with it. But when you're looking at like a Sniper, you know, the distance is a killer there. But the 100% accuracy in that 4-point ball guide on some holes where you're going with your driver to put yourself in a layup spot, and then you're coming at it with a wood, and you're not in max wood. It's not a big dog hole like a lot of those ones that we just shot right there. And in this tour 5, this bag right here, that might not be a good combination, because that Sniper, like we didn't encounter any holes, but we got the same holes quite a few times over and over. This quarterback Sniper might not be a great combination. It might be better to bring out my Viper because it's got 10 more yards. And it's got pretty good ball guide, decent ball guide, top spins right there. It's got better backspin. So, I mean, the Viper might be a better club to bring out. And I will switch that up because that's probably a better combo right there. And I put the Goliath in because I was putting the Goliath in to compensate for the Sniper, so that if I had one of those holes where I was on a hole where I went fairway to fairway and then trying to get up to the green, I may be in my long iron, and that Goliath could make up for the shortfall of the Sniper. But the Viper's got the extra distance, and the Saturn is a better utility club than the Goliath, especially at this level. So picking out your clubs for which holes or which tour that you're playing. So like if you get out on a course and you're like, man, I wish I had this combo of clubs, you know, look at your bags, and if there's a way that you can manipulate that bag. But I find that this bag right here can get a lot of stuff done. And a lot of people don't like to look at the Big Topper because of its accuracy. And I will tell you, in tournaments, sometimes because the holes are a little more important, it may not be the right club, but there's a lot of stuff you can get done with your Big Topper, especially if you have a big dog following it up. And that's a great bag combo. All right, that was a little bit of tour 5 in my low level account. Just out there playing the pin chest. We end up at 8 out of 8. That's what we're talking about. So come out, and that's 8 chests that we can open. And so trying to get our club cards up. All right. Thanks for watching.